Welcome to Keep Stream Skip Podcast. Welcome back to Keep Stream Skip. I'm with Samantha and Juliana, and I am Nick. We're here with two films, and what we did with these films is, or how we decided, is we asked AI some criteria, and so to get your film, Juliana, what was the criteria that you did?
I put in heartwarming movies that will also shatter me.
Oh my god!
And
okay,
it honestly, it came up with the best one. Of course, being Perks of Being a Wallflower.
So we're going to be reviewing Perks of Being a Wallflower. It is July 19th, 2024. Things may have changed when we talk about where these things can be found. So where you can find this is either, well, right now it's not really streaming anywhere. You're going to have to buy it digitally, either through Fandango, Vudu, or Prime. But it's very affordable. Here we are. It's Perks of Being a Wallflower 2012. It is a drama with writers Steven Chbosky. Hope I got that right. And who also directed it. So writer-director.
And can I input the first fun fact? He also wrote the book. So this is based off of a book written by Steven Chbosky.
Oh, he's a trifecta.
That is interesting.
Hat trick. Like, I'm kind of jealous. The actors are Logan Lerman, Emma Watson, who knows her, Ezra Miller. He makes sure you know him. But yeah, he's
done some stuff.
Done some things with the law being involved.
I prefer Logan Lerman for sure.
Yeah.
But I grew up with Logan Lerman.
I'm more of an Emma Watson guy.
Well, I don't blame you.
All right, so Juliana, go ahead and summarize the film for those who may have not seen it.
Wow. Okay. So we have our main protagonist here, Logan Lerman, who is Charlie, who's kind of a misfit, a wallflower, if you would say, trying to fit in his freshman year of high school. And he kind of makes friends with some other misfits, Sam and her stepbrother, Patrick, as well as their I don't know, what would you call them? Ragtag group of friends. I would call them the theater kids for sure.
Yeah,
right.
that's a good analogy.
And they're all seniors and he's a freshman, right?
Right. So there's definitely that difference between them. So he's trying to fit in, but he, as the movie progresses, you learn, has had a really rough time. His best friend killed himself. He doesn't have any friends. And there's mental health issues that he's dealing with as well that we don't really figure out the root cause of till the end of the film. And yeah, it's just overall kind of a coming of age / just teen drama that you love.
Yeah. Good summary. Because now here's the thing: we actually didn't really spoil it in that summary, and I forgot to put out there that we do spoil the film. So look out because we really kind of want to review it heavily. But otherwise,
that includes spoilers sometimes.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Yeah.
But I kind of want it. I want, if anyone hasn't seen it and is listening to the spoilers, I want them to feel as shocked as the audience is when learning it.
Right. So probably watch the movie first and then listen to it.
Yeah.
But just know that Mel Gibson dies at the end.
Just know that we would want to, I would want to keep it. So, it's good.
Well, gee, thanks for skipping to the very end of the whole point of the show.
In case they want to shut it off and go watch it
and then go watch it, they need to know that it's worth. If you're gonna watch it,
because it is one of those movies that I feel like you have to know really nothing about until the things happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 100%. So. So go ahead and pause this show, go watch the movie, come right back and unpause us, and you can see if you agree, disagree, or what have you. All right, screenplay. Samantha, you want to kick off screenplay?
Okay, so I gave it a 10 because it was just very it wasn't cheesy. It wasn't one of those cheesy teen movies where, like they're all doing the cheesy stuff that
Like High School
you understand.
Musical?
No, the one that comes to mind is like Can't Hardly Wait or something, where it's
yeah.
they
10
don't
Things I Hate About You, or
right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
just like those cheesy kind of like, yeah, they're fun movies, but not as this was more in depth, I should say.
yeah. Overall, with the story, any comments on that, or because we could spoil it now, we can just go.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's what we're gonna do. But
Yeah.
just go ahead.
I mean,
so
we're
general.
Well, I don't know
Long
what
pause.
to tell you.
Well,
Long pause.
Come on, let's talk about it then.
All right. So
spoiler alert.
yeah. So all right. Here's the thing. And I know you probably enjoy it because Juliana saw it before Samantha and I have seen it.
Yeah.
And I know you were digging each time. I was like, what the fuck? Oh, this is what these things are. These are the visions. So there's a twist shocker. And Charlie, he had his friend kill himself. And as you go through the story, you're seeing these visions of his aunt, and you feel like, oh, the aunt died. That's why he just feels so bad. He must be suicidal from that. And then as he starts getting towards the end of the film, when he starts getting this PTSD trigger of his aunt after Emma Watson's character, Sam, starts to basically, I guess they have sex for the first night. And it opens up all these memories of his aunt molesting him.
Yeah.
And
Right.
it's presented in such a striking moment of an aha of the audience.
And it's not also in your face either. Like you have to pay attention to it in order
Yeah.
to catch it.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
not a film
Because
you
it's
have
very
to,
subtle.
don't be on your phone. We should have said that before the old pauseroo.
Pause. Before spoiler, pause.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on, go back. Get off your phones. No.
Whoopsie daisies.
man.
Well, if they're taking film seriously, they shouldn't be on the
On the
freaking
phone
phone
anyway.
or anything. Yeah. The screenplay, the story itself was so realistic for that time. It's set in 1991 and 92. Having grown up in that era, not as old as Charlie is in that time, being a freshman, but the way everything was portrayed, the dialogue that was written for the characters, it was just spot on, except when Emma Watson says, sounds better on vinyl. That kind of thing didn't appear until I would say 2010s up. And the reason why that is because the mastering wars. The mastering wars, or I should say not the mastering wars, the loudness wars. To make music sound better on cheaper headphones or stereos or whatever, they basically maxed out the loudness on everything in that track. So if you played it on good stuff, it sounded horrible, but the good master of the sound of the song itself or whatever is on vinyl. But if you get it on CD or if you bought it on digital, it was just this really nasty master of the song. So audiophiles were like, hey, it sounds better on vinyl. The good master's on it. It doesn't mean the format's superior. It's just that the good master is on it. So to say that in 1991, 92, when that stuff wasn't really going on, I was like, no. They don't say that.
And only a few people would catch that
Yeah,
because I
right.
totally didn't catch that.
Ha ha.
Extremely nitpicky, Nick.
Steven Shabusky.
Which means, what did you rate it, though?
It was so well written.
Yeah.
So amazingly well written that the nitpicky stuff it could be easily ignored. It was a solid 10.
10 out of
solid
10.
10.
I gave it a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same here.
And I also liked how, like including watching the movies, like, again, you have to catch them. Just a little like snippets of, advice, even for like real real life.
Real
Kinda
life.
like, you know, what was the one thing that Paul Rudd said? He said, we accept the things we think we deserve.
We accept the love
We accept
think
the
we
love
deserve.
we think we deserve. So that was just kind of like, huh, okay.
That was a moment of just, damn, you right. And that hurts.
You know,
Turn it off.
although if you twist it a little bit and made it a Lords of Acid song, and if you know Lords of Acid, they are like 90s, 80s, 90s. They still make music today, but it's their techno kind of and sort of light industrial music, but they're hypersexual. So think the love you deserve could be a song. If you know there are other songs, that makes total sense. So fans of Lords of Acid knows what I'm talking about.
So 2 out of 3 here doesn't know what he's talking about.
We're just
Like they make songs called "Sit on My Face."
Yeah.
So
it's a dick in a box.
Oh, that was a good riff, though. They had a Christmas scene, and so they're all exchanging gifts, and then he gets to get like Charlie goes upstairs to Sam's room, and she's like, "I got you a gift," and he went to go to a box, and I was like, "It's a dick in the box." Okay, so
But I also have to point out, remember that one spot too around that time, or when they were playing Truth or Dare?
God, that was so good.
I loved looking over to both of you and watching your hands just cover your mouth like, oh my God. It is the most secondhand embarrassment I think I've ever felt from a film in my entire life.
Oh yeah. But you know, the kiss felt worse. I wanted to go back because at least the other one was funny.
Well,
Yeah, he was like, I always
freaking out over his first line, and I was like, "Oh, buddy, you just wait."
Yeah, he's like,
Yeah.
I just like I'm just thinking of one of us dying from cancer.
So we can break up.
Yeah,
And,
it's that bad.
you know,
and you were
it was
like,
that bad.
"Damn,
And him and
that's
Nick and I
harsh."
we were like, oh shit.
Because
And then of course it was like, you know what, one of those things that like, you know, he said it in
that
his
was
head.
his inner monologue in his brain.
the
And
inner
we
monologue.
wish that would
and then he was like, oh, he picked Truth again, right?
No, you picked Dare.
He picked Dare because he knew how the truth was about to go, I guess. And he's like, I dare to kiss the prettiest girl in the room. And, you know, he doesn't kiss his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Kisses Sam.
He kisses Sam, and it's like,
Sam. Which
and-
who wouldn't kiss Emma Watson? To be fair.
but the thing, like, you know, and this guy, he has a great heart, but I think also like some of the things he did without thinking, like most guys do anyway.
yeah.
Well, I just
Because if he would have thought about it, he would have just been like, yeah, I want to kiss Sam, but my girlfriend's sitting right here.
well, what made it like the cringe on that whole line though, where it's like I just keep thinking and hoping that one of us dies from cancer, so we could break up, and I was like, okay, what made it so like, oh my God, that center monologue you put out is because maybe at one time you thought of that kind of thought when you're dating somebody because it's that bad. Because that's how I got it. I just hit that and I was like, oh, that's a hard relate, but I never said it out loud. But okay, so Juliana, did we get your rating? I know it's
Yeah,
probably
I said it was 10.
10.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
10, 10, 10.
Sorry, I have that whole.
It's too good. And there's a lot of things
Right.
I've heard, because I've not read the book, but I've heard that the director / author wanted to include in there, like the sister Candace was supposed to have an abortion at some point, and there was like everything, but he couldn't tie it in well with the movie, so he left it out.
And didn't he?
Which makes sense.
And didn't they want to keep it more of a PG?
Yes, they wanted to like save the rating from being rated R. It was supposed to be rated R originally.
I was gonna say it felt rated R
Yeah.
because it's so hyper realistic. That's the other thing too. The direction. So good segue to that.
Yeah.
The direction, I just gave it a 10 too.
10.
Because there was nothing that, you know,
My
seemed
God.
out of place. There wasn't like, you know, like in some movies where, you know, like you're going down one path and all of a sudden it just goes like a far left and it's just like,
Right.
it's like, what the fuck
Well,
did
and-
that come from? Like all of it flowed. All of it like
Meshed together well.
meshed together.
I think it was just one of those rare films that actually captures high school really well. Like the way that high schoolers act and talked, at least in that time.
Yeah.
It was so spot on. It was like, because like a lot of people go over into the stereotypes or too much of whatever. And it was just crazy realistic. And
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, it was super realistic, having not been that far from that time.
Right.
Yeah.
And the only thing that got, well, I will say this, the senior, well, no, he was in a classroom full of freshmen, so I can see the giggling over raising your hand to say, oh, I'm going to read more books. But, yeah, the direction, like I said, hyper realistic, the captured what it was to actually look there in the early 90s when it's not a bunch of Saved by the Bell look. It's like, no, it looks just like the 80s because that's where it came from.
Right. And you even mentioned they were playing 90s music and all of that.
Able to like quote the song. They're like, I got to find this song. I'm like, it's okay.
Right. And not to go back to, or I guess not to go ahead, but Logan Lerman's like ability to act high that well, like that had to be a direction move, unless Logan Lerman was 20 years old and getting. I mean, he might have been.
Yeah.
I think they were all in their 20s.
Yeah, 20, 21. But still, I feel like there also had to be like some directing moves in there that were just like, this is how it used to be.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's like, it's the most realistic depiction of someone being high, especially for the first time. The only thing that the big party cliche, and like, oh look, this giant house party. That was another thing I was like, but the movie is so good that yeah.
You can look over that.
Yeah, you can look over it.
Pretty sure my high school had one big party
And
once.
I'm sure somebody had a big party in high school.
Yeah. I was not invited, of course.
No.
I was not that person. But there was definitely some big house parties.
My friends had house parties, but they weren't nearly as big or anything like that.
Yeah. No, the one house party I got invited to, I called my parents to pick me up.
Don't invite her. She just calls her parents.
Literally, I was not invited to more, and I understand.
Yeah. And
Totally get it.
I'm trying to figure out what the direction, because there was a lot of things that were good.
What did you rate it?
I rated it 10 out of 10. I will say this. The one thing, again, overlook the ding, because unless you really know, there was only like one, maybe two or three things where it's like, oh, that's distinctly Pittsburgh, as far as the what they would say. Mm-hmm. So like the ones girl turn around be like, you jag off. I'm like, yeah, okay, we got one, but nobody had the accent. They didn't have to say, hey, I have to go home now. And I got to read up my stuff. And that kind of accent, it wasn't there. So, but they're like intermixing with all these different kids from Pittsburgh, and I'm like, well, all right, sure.
Which is interesting because the guy who wrote it is from Pittsburgh.
That's the thing. He even had Tom Savini,
and Tom Savini,
local, Pittsburgh there. But if you listen to Michael Keaton when he's relaxed and just talking about stuff, that's a Pittsburghese kind of accent. But I'm trying to see. That's pretty much it. Oh, director of photography. Mm-hmm. Phenomenal work on the color. It felt real. It felt like you were there. But it still had that nice film look. It was where he put the eye on the actor, or where you're trying to look at, whether it be the truck scenes in the tunnel, the seeing how the light passes through, the splice editing with the ant to show the manic thoughts that were happening to Charlie. Mm-hmm. Masterpiece. Just masterful work. Mm-hmm. So I guess acting.
It's
like no one jumped in to say, well, let's talk about acting.
No, there was something else I was going to talk about with the direction, but I forgot about it. That's why I was like sitting here with like a blank stare on my face. I'm like, what was I going to say? But now I can't remember. Maybe it'll come back to me. Who knows? All right. So acting, I would give it a 10 out of 10. Like they acted the shit out of their part.
They did so good.
Yeah.
Like they were on time. They like I didn't feel like how like in Twilight when she's like,
God. No.
you're like
No.
she's pausing, waiting for her line or whatever, and you're just like,
My best friend and I call it
hello?
giving a ghost a blowjob.
There was like none of that, and if they were happy, they were acted happy, sad. They didn't.
Yeah, and it felt realistic. Like when he's like panicking, and the way the sister makes that phone call and so on.
Oh, that was so good.
Everything is nailed. And why the hell did none of these guys get Oscars? This is like Oscar worthy. Was this nominated for or won
We
anything?
gotta look it up because I don't think they. I remember it's really big with our time. Like it's just huge, but I don't remember if it got nominated for anything.
That is unbelievable. Like this is some of the best movie experience making and so forth, especially in drama that I've seen in a long time.
Oh, it got nominated for a lot of stuff actually.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I was like gonna say,
And I'll explain further when it loads. Okay, so let's see. They got a couple of nominations at the Critics' Choice Awards for Best Young Actor for Logan Lerman and Best Adapted Screenplay for Steven Chbosky.
Really? They had to say young actor instead of just actor?
Apparently.
I mean, what is the criteria for a young actor?
Yeah, what is this? What is this? Why are we
Logan
segregating
Lerman
him?
was 20 years old.
Yeah,
He's a
so
man.
I really don't feel accomplished.
The perks of being Juliana.
Cry. Wow, they got nominated actually for a lot of stuff. They won the People's Choice Award in 2013 for Favorite Dramatic Movie.
Okay, all right, yay.
They got a lot of Teen Choice Award.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I
They
could
don't-
see
they don't
that.
do shit.
Yeah. They won for the Teen Choice Award drama. So did Logan Lerman for actor and Emma Watson for
Okay,
actress.
yeah, she was really good in this one.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, that the acting paired up with that writing made it so relatable in so many different ways if you're a guy watching this. And it's just...
And I kind of want to know when he wrote this book. Did he write it when he was in high school? Because if he did, then yeah,
It makes sense.
it makes sense.
Because again, a lot of authors I feel like do not capture like
Right.
high school correctly.
Because a lot of times too, like, and even as an adult, sometimes I have to think about back to my high school. Like, I'm like, oh, what do the high school's kids have to worry about? They gotta worry about a lot of shit.
Mm-mm.
I just
They
thought
got a
of
lot
like...
of shit going on.
They don't really capture high school that often. And then it's like, summer.
Well, and then when that Mary Elizabeth,
Yes. Mae Whitman.
when she was like, oh, we're boyfriend girlfriend after like like what they went to the Sadie Hawkins dance together and now
Yeah.
they're
And
boyfriend
now
and
they're
girlfriend, and I was just
boyfriend.
like cringe.
And
And,
then-
I was like, have I ever done that in my life? Maybe.
The icing on the cake is when she waited and then went up to him and said, I met this guy and it's just not working out. Well, clearly they have already broken up and he is pretty much broken up with her. But no, she has to make sure that she's the one breaking up with him. Oh, it was just
Totally
like nailed it.
a high school
Yeah.
girl thing to do.
Yep. I do have to point out another fun fact that I found was that originally John Hughes bought the film rights and was going to make this film and was going to cast Shia LaBeouf as Charlie, Kirsten Dunst as Sam, and remember the green flag guy from Saved, Patrick?
Uh-huh.
Fugget. That guy was supposed to be Patrick. Funny enough. But he died, so that didn't happen. Which is not funny.
I mean, John Hughes is great, but I don't like the
casting choice,
I don't like it.
right? Like
Yeah.
it was just so perfect in this film. I couldn't see it being done by
Yeah.
anyone else.
Yeah.
Right, like even just thinking about it right now, I'm like, Shia LaBeouf
Yeah.
as Charlie.
Right? And
It wouldn't have been the same.
good deal to Emma Watson for this being her first role outside of Harry Potter. Like it obviously made a staple for her as an
Yeah.
actress
Spike the
outside of
football.
that world.
Yeah.
Right. And good for her. Good for her. She did great.
Yes. Good
And
for her.
I think too, the reason why she even got the part was because he saw her in Half-Blooded Prince when she was doing that scene about Ron, like her and Ron doing something in Half-Blood Prince.
What are her and Ron do? No, hold on.
I can't think of that.
Ron do something in Half-Blood Prince.
Doesn't he get upset about the whole, like, he walks in on the Harry and her dancing, and then he gets all upset.
That's not Half-Blood Prince. That's Deathly Hallows.
No, that's
Part
Deathly
1.
Hallows.
Okay, so there we go. We found it.
Yeah, Deathly Hallows Part 1. He walks in and they're dancing in the tent.
Yeah.
Which is really cute.
But now I got to go back and look at that because now I'm like...
Just think about that scene.
So wait, hold on. Are we rewatching all of the Harry Potter movies? Because I already watched the last 2 yesterday.
Yes, let's rewatch
God.
all the Harry Potter
I'm trying to get all my horror stuff off my plate. Like, I can't...
I didn't rewatch the last 2. Which 2 did I watched Goblet of Fire and Order of Phoenix.
We can watch Harry Potter movies and play the Harry
and
Potter
Harry
games.
Potter games! Oh my gosh. Play Hogwarts Legacy,
Well, we just
please.
got canceled from everybody who banned that game. Well, that's great.
And Harry Potter, too.
Well, because, she's a TERF.
Because of fucking... What's her name?
Yeah.
Why can't I think of the author's name? I don't know.
J.K.
That homophobic...
Rowling.
She's not really important anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the thing is...
you can love the art because, like, okay, my personal opinion is you hate the artist, that's fine, but love the art. Separate it.
Well, I like what John Green said, is that the author doesn't matter. It doesn't. He's an author, and John Green was like I used to teach that in English.
Only the characters.
And I would play his video and be like, just know if you're going to be a writer, author doesn't matter, your story does, because it's about the art.
Right.
Unfortunately,
well, it's objective, right, or subjective,
yeah.
so people can take what they want from it.
Yeah,
and I feel like I don't know, people take a lot of things from Harry Potter that she probably didn't want them to take from Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm.
Polyjuice potion.
All right, so
it's obviously I found an allegory to being transgender.
I just remember the girl who did when she turned into Harry Potter, looked in the pants.
What?
Yeah, apparently in the scene where they're all
where
taking
they
the
all turn into Harry Potter.
The one girl after she does it looks inside of her pants.
Yeah, isn't that like for what's her name? Fleur
de Cure.
Somebody I don't remember. I just remember hearing about it.
All right, so it was in the Half-Blood Prince at the scene where Ron breaks her heart and Harry consoles her. That Stephen Chbosky knew he wanted to cast Emma Watson in this role.
Oh, I got you.
Was that the part when I'm so sorry we got off on a Harry Potter tangent, but I'm trying to remember when this was. That's when he takes the potion. Oh my god, he's dating the curly haired bitch. Yes. Okay, I'm caught up.
And she finally realizes that
yes.
Oh
yeah,
kind of like the jealousy type.
For sure.
Spoilers about Harry Potter as well, not warned by.
If you haven't seen Harry Potter at this point, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah, pretty
Sorry.
much. All right. Special effects of being a wallflower.
So we all got 10 for acting, right?
Yes.
Okay. Masterful. Special effects when he gets on LSD and the stars and so forth. I'm just gonna say 10. There isn't really much in there, but we could say the smash of the semi hitting his aunt and killing her.
Yeah,
that was well done.
I would say a 10 too, even though I really didn't know there were special effects because it was that seamless.
Right. I mean
Samantha was on acid. Yeah. Sorry,
I was not.
Are these special effects, man?
Or is this just real life?
Real life.
Maybe this is just what my real life looks like without being on drugs.
Oh,
okay?
the one line
I don't know
where
what's going on in here.
I saw a dragon, but then it turned into a tree. It lied to me. I was like, nailed being high on acid. Good job.
That's so funny. This movie, although being a drama, was fucking hilarious. The amount of jokes that landed throughout this movie, very well. I hate to go back to screenplay, but gosh, I was laughing out loud.
Yeah.
And again, it wasn't the cheesy part. It wasn't the cheesy stuff. And it wasn't depicting different things. Like in Reefer Madness, when, somebody's smoking weed, they go crazy and murder
Where's,
somebody.
dude, where's my car?
Oh
Where
God. Ugh.
Dude.
yeah, or where in here it's like, oh, they were high. Okay, he's like, I don't even know why I was laughing. It wasn't even funny.
I don't know what's going on right now. She just made herself laugh in such a way that she can't stop about somebody else being high while she's sober. And I can't figure out why she's continuing.
It's not just me.
Well, she's laughing because you're laughing. It's a contagious laugh. I'm just trying to hold the show together.
I'm laughing because you're laughing so hard.
Yeah, it just came out of nowhere. Like, and now she's laughing because you're laughing and snorting while you laugh. Oh God, we're losing. Whoever's listening right now has just turned it off.
Overall.
I'm sorry.
This is the best episode yet.
Uh,
Safe to say, keep this movie.
yeah, 10 out of 10. Keep.
10 out of 10. Keep it.
Yeah, wonderful film. All right, so when we come back, I will talk about the AI criteria, but I'll say that the AI criteria I told it is that I wanted a horror film that was really, really good, but in the like recent memory, and pretty much it like went under the radar though. Like really good, really well rated. People loved it if they saw it, but not a lot of people saw it. And what it came up with is Summer of '84. So when we get back, we're going to be talking about Summer of '84, which came out in 2018. We haven't seen it yet, so we're going to go ahead and take a break, and then we'll be right back to let you guys know what we thought.
Woo!
And we're back. And so we just got done watching Summer of '84. It came out in 2018. Horror mystery kind of genre. Writers are Matthew Leslie and Stephen J. Smith. But here's the thing that kind of tripped me up. When I first looked at this up, seeing 3 directors, I thought something like went wrong. But apparently it's these 3 guys known as RKSS that are known as Roadkill Superstars. It's like these 3 directors, like they just work together.
Huh,
so I was like, I've never heard of that before. Where you can find it, you're going to have to buy it on Prime or somewhere around. I don't know. I think it's on Prime and Fandango and
YouTube?
Yeah. Well, yeah, Google Movies or YouTube.
So, did you tell us the parameters that you put in?
Yeah, before we switched over.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
No worries. Otherwise, I thought it was originally produced by Shudder, but no, it wasn't. And what's interesting is it was by Gunpowder and something. But what was interesting about producing this thing and releasing it, they only released it like a very limited release. We don't know how much money it's made on streaming, but the international box office was just $6,000. Like it was like, okay, we'll release it, and then nothing really happened.
Then nothing. Well, I don't remember ever hearing of this film.
Yeah.
And that's what's kind of crazy because it has I might be saying this wrong. Graham Vercher, who played Davy Vercher.
Vasher. I think it's going to be a thing of ours now to just mispronounce names unapologetically.
Well, hopefully
we just have to say it wrong on purpose now.
To have Judah
Not
Lewis.
on purpose.
Yeah, not on purpose. Yeah. Judah Lewis. Well, it's like each one has at least one. Like the Roadkill Superstars are Francois Samard, Anouk Whistle, and Jan Carl Whistle, and they did Turbo Kid before this. But yeah, Judah Lewis, who plays Eats, the kind of punk rock with the troubled home and all that stuff. He was known for being on The Babysitter and most recently Suitable Flesh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Thankfully, much older.
Yeah.
Because of what's in Suitable Flesh. For those who haven't seen it yet, check it out. Corey Gruder Andrew as Curtis, and Caleb Emery as Woody. So
I can I give a quick addition to that of Rich Summer as Mackie.
yeah.
Yeah, he did a good job.
Did a
So
very good
shout out
job.
to him.
Very, very good job. Like,
Yeah.
I can't wait to talk about the screenplay here.
Woo!
It's kind of a split between the screenplay and direction, but who wants to go first on that one?
I guess let's talk about the screenplay.
Yeah,
All right, so the screenplay I gave an 8.
nice.
Okay. The reason why I gave it an 8 is because it started to flow in one direction and kind of like, oh, it's the killer. Mackie's the killer, and you're like, no, it can't be because that's just wrong. But then it turns out he was the killer.
Yeah,
So that,
Spoilers.
they should know from our previous conversations.
So
Yeah.
that's not the reason why I gave it an 8. But it's just in general, like there was some things to like, it's supposed to be in 1984 and there was obviously things that were in it that weren't around in 1984.
Yeah. Not too far off. It was just not maybe exactly there.
See, along the same lines, I give it a 7 because of like a similar kind of along the lines of mystery. I feel like, I mean, I guess the first person you suspect being the actual killer doesn't normally happen too often, but like, I don't know. I was kind of hoping for some sort of actual like twist or whatever, not for it to be that guy. I mean, he did a great job. I will say the actor kind of made up for the fact that it was him.
Right. And
But-
I guess it was a mystery in that aspect because like here we are thinking just with our prior knowledge of the horror genre is something, it's the least likely one that you suspect, and they're suspecting Mackie, the killer. But also along the lines of that, something I was going to say about that. Shit.
Poof.
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 Well, I was going to say that I gave it an 8 out of 10 because of the fact that it was it was so twisted. So the tempo of everything is like, hey, you're in this 80s thing. Everything's going generally there. It's fun. It's kind of quirky. You're following these kids around. And then it takes a sudden and very, very dark turn. Like incredibly dark. And it's like, oh, you kind of lured me into a false sense of security. What I thought this movie was going to be in like tonality. It just abruptly turns into like, this is the darkest thing. Like you were along with the kids. You're kind of acting like a kid with them as the audience. And you realize
manhunt.
Yeah. And then you effed around and found out.
Yeah.
So that's that brutal kill at the end where he just gets slashed right open. And it's like, oh.
Yeah, that did make me sad.
Yeah, and I think that was part of the reason why I dinged it a little bit too, is because it sells itself as a horror,
Yeah,
but
it's
you don't really see
not.
anybody getting killed until the very, very end, and that's just a slit throat. When I
Yeah.
think about horror, I think about
It's
blood
very
and
much
gore.
a slow burn
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
Like the ending is definitely good, but it takes a damn minute to get there.
So I thought that was on purpose because they want to lure you into a false sense of security of knowing what the whole movie's about, because he related back to the suburbs of being in a false sense of security, being in the suburbs, but you don't know what's going on in the closed doors. So I thought that was kind of a thing that was done on purpose until they're like, oh, but you opened that door and then your consequences here.
I didn't think about that.
That's why I moved it up to an 8, because I was like, oh, that's creative. But it's also kind of painful.
yeah,
I
it
mean,
takes a damn minute.
there was definitely jump scares there.
The jump
that
scares
you
were good.
not expecting.
The jump scares were good. But I will also say, like, I feel like there are certain character storylines I felt like just were not fleshed out.
Oh, you know what I
really
forgot
well.
to do? Summarize what this thing was about.
Oh, yeah. Hit it.
So,
Take us
so the summary of this plot is Davy, Eats, and Curtis and Woody are friends that are in high school, and they are celebrating, like, kind of, well, not really celebrating. They're just hanging out over the summer. And there's some missing kids that are starting to go around. And Davey, who is known to be a conspiracy theorist because of his hot babysitter girlfriend later on, somehow, crazy enough, that we all thought, like, he has to be dreaming, but it was real.
Yeah.
It's something.
Ew.
Yeah, because the actor Graham Fercheri plays Davey. He looks like he's 12, even though he's supposed to be 15.
Yeah, they're supposed to be like, teenagers, 14, 15 years old. And she's supposed to be she was like his old babysitter, which is 4 years older than he was.
Right.
So, even if you think about 13 and she's 4 years older, that's 17.
Ugh.
Like,
Big gross.
Yeah.
Big ew. Yeah.
sneaking into his bedroom.
Yeah, I really don't like that storyline. And I
weird.
feel like it also just came out of nowhere, which is why I kind of suspected her at the beginning, because it was like, okay, I could understand a young teenage boy being fucking creepy and staring at the hot girl across the street, and then her being like,
Yeah. A lot of that cliche in that.
Of course. And that's like very typical horror, whatever. But for her to just be like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm going to come over.
I'm gonna
Your
come
parents
over.
aren't here.
But
I'm
you
going to
were
go up in
looking
your
at me too bad you
room.
didn't see my body. It's pretty
And yes,
banging.
that's
Like,
probably-
what the fuck?
Yeah, it was like we were.
And
like,
yes,
how
that's-
is this not a dream?
And that's probably what, like, all the boys were sitting there, though, being like, yes, yes.
Right.
But, like,
That's why I was like, oh, she's the murderer.
Yeah, 'cause it's so
ain't
fake.
no fucking way that would happen. So the fact that she's not, I feel like I had to ding the screenplay a little bit. For
Well,
that.
'cause,
That's
like,
what
so,
I
like,
did
that's
for
just
you.
well,
not-
because, like, even
no.
his friends were like, yeah, you're lying.
And even if that was, that just makes her a predator in some forms that I don't like. That.
Yeah, it just feels really weird. It didn't make sense at all.
Yeah.
So now we're kind of on direction. So with how it was directed, as far as, cinematography or how they did the tone, or the fact that pacing is where it's at, what did you guys think?
I gave it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah. I gave it a 7. Because I can't. Sorry, Nick. Save it. I gave it a 7.
You want to describe what is happening?
I don't I can't tell you what's happening.
I went to cough,
Yeah, I know.
but then it didn't happen.
And
then nothing came
when
out,
does
not
that
even like my
ever happen?
sound.
When does that ever happen, Sam? That happens with sneezes, right? You
That's
know?
what I thought she was doing, is
That's
holding a
what I
sneeze.
maybe
Yeah.
thought that was. But then,
was a cough.
but she's over here like, I was like, she might throw up on your carpet. I don't know.
What, she's a cat?
Maybe. I don't know. That's what it looked like.
Yeah, 'cause the whole bit of that.
That's why I was like, I was trying to move on. I could not. Anywho, why'd you give it an 8?
All right.
Go ahead.
I gave it an 8.
Meow.
Oh, such a bad callback to the first episode.
It was perfect.
We always do that. That's our thing. Okay, so I gave it an 8 because just the acting and like just the way the direction was going, the cinematography, like it definitely painted a darker tone when it needed to be. But then on other aspects, it kind of didn't make sense.
Mm.
Yeah, like, I don't know, the whole, I know it's part of the screenplay more, but just how in the world did you build up to that girl?
I don't get it. And like the directorial kind of move to do that, I'm like, what was the point of her even? Because here's the other thing, like we get a finished storyline with her, but not his other two best friends, because like they don't have any ending in this storyline,
except for them
whatsoever.
throwing like him helping like taking down the treehouse at
Right.
the end. That was
and
pretty
it's
much
like,
it.
what the fuck is that about? Are they pissed off at him because he got kidnapped and his friend got killed? Like, what?
Right. He
Well,
didn't.
I'm
He
so
didn't even
fucking
acknowledge.
confused.
I don't think they were
didn't-
pissed off with him.
They didn't even acknowledge him when he was.
They didn't.
rolling.
That's
No,
the thing. He
no.
rode by on his bike,
But it
and
was
they
like
were
it
like,
was somber or whatever. Because they weren't like really mad directly at him. They wouldn't even look at him. They were turning
Right.
down the treehouse almost like because of his friend's death, all this stuff is over. Like it feels like their friendship is their
right,
group
but
has
those
been.
two were doing it together without
Yeah.
the kid on the bike, and I feel like that's just a weird like directorial move to go
Yeah.
for. Is like the two boys being like, all right, fuck you, one dude who also got kidnapped and has been targeted by a serial killer. We're gonna just ostracize you. It's kind of the vibe I was getting.
The flip side could be that they're showing innocence lost. The treehouse represents innocence, and after all the things they went through, it's innocence lost.
I'm
So-
fine with the treehouse coming down. I just don't know why the two boys would do it without him. Right?
Yeah.
Like that that trio
Right.
would be split up in the way that it is. And we don't get any kind of a closure or reasoning for it. We just, the last we see of those two boys, they were like on the fucking bench. They were over on the bench.
Right. And then you see, and this was really stupid, of the dad. Like, I don't really like the dad at all. I thought he was a killer for a little bit. Especially when he was like, now you gotta go tell him exactly what you were doing in his house, even though they weren't caught.
Yeah.
And they didn't even vandalize it or anything.
That
and it was
phone
just,
number, though.
The phone number, that's what really sold. I will say that was a good move. The phone number calling himself. Because everything else I could have been like, yeah, excusable. I really don't think it's him. Except for the phone number. That was a good thing to throw in there. Because how do you explain that? Why would he call
phone
himself?
number? And then all of a sudden, he arrested a guy for the killings.
The sudden whatever.
Literally that same day that he was suspected of it, kind of thing.
I will say I do like how they kind of try to. It's very obvious the entire time, but I think that's the point, that it's very obvious, but nobody wants to believe what's right in front of them.
It's kind of like Rear Window. It's like the guy knows what it is. He ends up being what he said it was, and all that stuff. So as far as how everybody acted their parts, what do you think?
I originally said a 7.
I forgot to give my thing. It was 8 for direction.
Oh, for
Sorry.
direction. Wow.
I also gave that an 8. Why are you looking at me
Why?
like that?
What was that face for?
Well, I was like, okay,
you
so we
say?
got 3 8s, and I got 3 8s too.
Oh, that's
Oh.
funny. I'm 3 7s.
Interesting.
I'm special.
All right, Nick, why did you give it a 8?
Well, I gave it an 8 because everything was pretty much solid. They did everything they were supposed to work with, but I mean, the only dings were, I don't know. It wasn't that they acted bad. It just felt some parts were overdone or a little bit hammed with like the whole porno obsession and we're gonna go jerk off.
Or like
it just
some of the characters too were like very underdeveloped.
Yeah. I just
You
felt
know.
like
Well,
some of them were
that's
kind
more-
of dull versus like.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, think about the kids in the It movies.
Mhm.
Like they do kind of I'm a horny teenage boy, whatever, like your mama jokes
Yeah.
very
Right.
well. Like
Yeah.
they do it very well. And it's not overdone like every 5 seconds of the goddamn movie we're hearing a joke about your mama.
Yeah.
Like
right.
and they do it, accurately. Whereas this movie I feel like was just really trying too hard.
Yeah. Like I know some of that screenplay, but it also is the delivery. Delivery seemed just so cliche.
Right. Like I forget
it was-
the kid actor in It, the one who plays, I think it's Richie, the one who with the mom that's overly,
Yeah.
the one that's always making the jokes. I don't know. He's hilarious to me.
I'm trying to think. Okay, so the other here's the thing though. What really scored the 8 was Mackie.
Mackie.
That
Rich Summer.
brutal.
Oh my god.
Like the lighting of the
My
taillight
God.
with painting him red like
And
that
that,
and
like,
rage.
his
The
teeth would just like
Yeah.
the very
he's
last
saying it?
quote he said, like, freaking, I'm going to be up all night,
Well,
like, thinking about it.
That should have been like, if there's a horror Oscar, that should have been there, right there. Here's your horror Oscar.
Yeah, you
Take it
deserve
home.
that.
And he's like, I'm going to keep you alive.
Jesus.
And one day I'm going to come back for
He
you.
scared me. I'm nervous.
I was like, holy
I'm
shit.
nervous to like look over my shoulder and see him there, because that's the other thing. The entire movie, he gave vibes,
Creepy
of being
vibes.
like the creepy neighbor, like way too inviting of you coming into his house, and like he gave
Right,
very
like-
much groomer.
It's almost like vampire. Like, you know what I mean? I kept just kept on thinking,
And then
is he a
he's
vampire?
like he really
So about
wants to
the-
get into his house,
Yeah.
and like
Invites
it's
me
like
in.
really wants to
Like, even from,
our
like, the very
relationship's too
beginning,
strong.
too, it was creepy.
Yeah, inviting him in the
You
house
know,
in the first place.
He's like, hey, can you come move this? And you're just like, get this chill. And you're like, eh. But he says it like if you were
It's like the
here,
old man and the Family Guy.
yeah, like, but if you were
Hey,
here,
Chris.
like even the kid, like even Davey was like his acting was like
Oh yeah.
yeah.
creepy, yeah,
You can
creepy
feel
out.
the like
He-
the tense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I feel like that would freak me the fuck out too. Like with the walkie-talkie scene where he like set the walkie-talkie in the window and he was looking back at him with the binoculars and everything.
Right.
That freaked me out. I was like,
Yeah.
mm-mm.
And then leaving that walkie-talkie up. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
no.
my thing is the attic scene when he like crawls down like a spider almost, where you see it slowly
it-
come
Oh
down, and
my
it's like slow. I just kept on thinking like
God.
that's exact. I feel like that feels like a spider coming down to go after these guys. Um,
Ugh.
Well,
amazing.
another reason why I dinged a little bit is because when towards the very end, when they finally do realize that it's him before they go into the house, his friends were like the acting, they were just like so nonchalant. They were like, "Oh, you're a liar." He caught somebody, you know, and it's like, but you're suspecting him of being a murderer, and he caught somebody.
Mm.
that and they totally skipped over the sodium hydroxide that everybody already knew, which was a
Right.
ding for me over the screenplay and direction, because that was like something that should have been caught by either or.
By somebody.
Yeah, yeah. So
Or at
spec-
least explained off, you know?
Well, yeah, yeah. What about the special effects? I mean, there wasn't much to speak of except
There was
for
the body.
Like
yeah,
at the end.
Yeah. It's all at the end. All of it's piled
Yeah.
at the end.
Yeah. I gave it an 8
I gave it an 8.
because it was, you know, it was good, but it wasn't like spectacular.
Right.
I'm just waiting for you to be like 8, 8, 8, 8, 5 out of 10 overall.
It's actually going to be a 3. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
0.
No, I actually
than
do that
baby
correctly,
cat.
and, you know, like, you know, take it and like divide it by 4
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
because that's what you're supposed to do when you have an average. But, you know, whatever.
I normally do that too. Mine was pretty easy to figure out the average.
Mine too.
This one I didn't need to do the math.
Yeah, I gave it
Oh
an
my
8
God,
as
me
well.
neither.
So, and then an overall 8. Now, here's the thing.
Overall 7.
Do you keep it or stream it? Or skip it? Well, I don't think you guys are going to skip it, but, you know,
I said stream.
stream.
I said it's a fun watch.
I would honestly keep it and purposely, and maybe I'm sick, but purposely show it to people who haven't seen it before.
No, that's actually why I would keep it, and because it's one of the more unique.
And like just watch their reactions and just
yeah.
like try to goat them a little bit. She's like, "Oh my god, he can't be the killer."
Well, the pacing, that weird pacing that does it on purpose. It does
Right.
the slow burn,
Yeah.
not because, the slow burn would help this story. It's, no, they're kind of creeping you up on this ride. You have no idea you're being pulled up on this roller coaster until, oh God, I'm on the top of this roller coaster. And then it goes down and all this other crazy, evil shit happens.
Yeah.
Right, because like you're sitting there, you're like, "Oh, it can't be him. They're suspecting him." So then you think about like the other 3 or 4 different characters that it could be in the movie, like, you know what I mean, like between the
Right.
dad and the babysitter and then
yeah.
the girl.
It is definitely entertaining.
Oh, yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I think there are other movies that does a slow burn a little bit better though.
Sure. I just think this is so unique. I've never seen it done like this.
Hmm.
Usually the slow burn is a slow burn and then it pays off at the end, but not like this. Like it gives you the innocent lure. Because some of those shots were, kind of like, ooh, they're doing 80s thing, call back to how they do zooms. And,
Oh,
you know, it's so innocent and fun. This is an innocent and fun horror film. You're going to love it, everybody. You're going to die. And it's like,
That
What
whole
was
speech at
that?
the end was just,
What was
Yeah.
that kid one that they thought the neighbor was a serial killer or like a vampire?
this summer.
Fright Night.
Fright Night. Yeah, Fright
Fright Night.
Night.
So that
That's very much like
So,
Fright Night, except
just
without
thinking
the
about
group
that,
of
like,
kids. You know?
yeah, just thinking about that now, I'm like, maybe that's why I kind of like resonated a little better
Yeah.
because like of Fright Night, like because it was kind of the same
Mm-hmm.
premise, but this one just kind of like did it creepier,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
really
yeah,
creepier.
More realistic.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, final thoughts before we sign off?
Some good picks.
Yeah.
Good picks. This is yeah.
First AI picks based on a weird criteria.
I know.
But I
Turned out
also,
pretty good.
I also want to point out that I'm sorry if the serial killer is at large that you ratted on
Oh,
and you
yeah.
saw all that
Duh.
shit in their house, are you going to sleep? No.
Yeah.
No, if I was
It's
around
over, man.
specifically to catch a serial killer, to be like,
I
yeah, I
don't-
went into his house and brought this evidence to the police, and now he's at large, ain't no fucking way I'm
Right.
sleeping.
And like,
Yeah.
I don't care if you're a kid. I don't care if you're a parent. Maybe a baby would sleep just
if it
because
were
it's a baby.
my child too, I'd be like,
I'd be like, hey,
Witness
sleep
protection,
over in the
please.
living
Yeah.
room.
I mean, how many people did that guy freaking kill?
I know.
So many people. No. And then for the kid to come over and have a sleepover too, like,
Right, and-
I felt like they were
And
trying to
then-
force a sequel that was never going to happen.
Just to go to bed.
maybe.
And then like the kids just sleeping like, oh.
Yeah. Sound asleep, sugar plum
No.
fairies.
Aw.
Fairies.
Because,
After the
like-
most traumatic, he saw a dead body. I'm sorry, in decomposition and a kidnapped child.
Right.
And his face was next. I wouldn't sleep for days.
Right.
Yeah.
They would have to give me something to sleep.
Yeah,
In the hospital, by the
He was
time
not
that
freaking
You're
happened.
out
like
enough.
put in a jail and then you lock it, but then you keep the key on the inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. He was not freaking out enough. Nobody was. They were like,
Like,
"Oh,
He was
you-
so paranoid throughout the entire film. It's at
And then-
that one
except the
moment
time
when he
you
should be
needed to be.
completely paranoid.
Right.
He should have been like, I was right. Oh no.
God, maybe I should drop this down to a 7. Ugh.
Like just like
See,
his
that's what I'm saying.
parents.
I
They
was
were
like,
just like,
this just
okay,
doesn't
good night.
All right, I drop everything down to a 7. All of it goes
Yeah.
There we
to
go.
7. All right, gonna switch it.
Come to the dark side. Come with me.
Look at that final thought that actually changed.
Wow.
Usually
Final
we just
thoughts.
sign off.
We changed all our beliefs.
Yeah, I put down no fucking way with the girl.
No fucking way. With the girl, with their nonchalant reactions. No. I don't think so.
All right.
Thank you.
Well,
All right.
that'll take us out. And till next time, we're going to be doing Juliana's birthday month picks, where she'll pick 2 films and tell us all about them, and we'll review them.
Prepare yourself.
Oh, God, no more of my High School Musicals.
It's going to be High School Musical and High School Musical 3.
But we already did 3.
But we
kidding.
didn't review 3.
Yeah. No, I'm just
Oh,
kidding. I'll
God.
pick some better ones.
Teen Beach Party.
All right, well,
Teen Beach movie.
you guys have a good one.